Alright everyone, it's time for Occult Literature video number 143, Demonism Verified and Analyzed. Interesting work. It's sort of got a weird trifecta system, and it's largely based on actual field work from its period of time. We're talking the early 1920s. Link in the description, as always, to my edition of this work on Amazon. Second and third links are to my books blogs. There are other works of demonology there, as well as other academic works. This is sort of half and half. On the one hand, it's strictly Christian. Speaks of a literal Satan, a literal possession, although it decries the specific term. But at the same time, it says that the action of demons, according to this author, according to his theory, the actual action of the demonic world is through the mental. That is, specifically, the demon influences the person, but it's because of psychosomatic causes. Essentially, a lunacy, literally a mental disturbance, has allowed the demonism, the actual sort of diabolical behavior. In this sense, it's tied into mental illness, according to the author, claiming, of course, at the same time, that these sort of Protestant prayers are the best. The name Jesus acts upon the mental state. That's why it, according to the author, acts upon demons or demonic possession. Very interesting and based on hundreds of anecdotes from both his and others' field work at the time, in China especially, but also India and other places. Mentions actually New England a couple times. Specifically one case towards the end, I believe in the final chapter, regarding the solutions for demonism. Regarding the spiritualist movement, specifically the idea that people have like seances, talk to spirits, they can be then possessed, so-called. But he says it's not because the demon is literally inside of them, like controlling them. It's that they have gone into an altered mental state. It's sort of a variant of mesmerism, which is literally mentioned here. It's an interesting theoretical tract. It also speaks about how governments, this is an interesting moralist component, speaking about how there's a civic responsibility for governments and for councils, neighborhoods, not to enforce moral behavior in the sense of like witch trials and things of that nature, but to shun paganism. Polytheism is the word actually used here. Polytheistic beliefs, idol worship, the sort of things you would think of a Chinese spirituality, early 1900s. You have some of these sort of folk beliefs. It's not really, it's pre-communism, pre-Mao Zedong. And so you have, in his view, various problems. Now I point out, of course, that some of the medical, including mental problems of the time, literally they deal with lack of educational infrastructure in the strictly disease-related department, literally lack of sanitation, high population density without sanitation is a problem. Now, this actually, ironically, is solved by like the Great Leap Forward in many cases, which is, a butcherous way to do it, but, did solve some of their problems other than the Sparrow one. But it's an interesting work of demonology, touching upon hypnotism, psychology as it was held then. It talks about Jung and Freud and so forth. Very interesting work. Overall, actually, one of the best, despite the fact that I disagree with its summation of, well, demons are real in the Christian sense, prayer is how you deal with it, polytheism is a bad thing. I disagree with all these things because, of course, I dabble with the spirit world maybe, and it doesn't cause me to have problems. It causes me to have success. While I don't agree with it, it's still an interesting work, if one that's from a specifically Christian background. And the anecdotes are interesting, too. It refers to these people as numbers, usually, because it literally in field work, I guess for privacy reasons, or maybe because Chinese names, a little bit, I don't think the average Westerner would be able to pronounce them. It'd be a little bit of a problem. So again, link in the description to my edition of this work on Amazon. Second and third links are to my books, blogs. Interesting work, highly recommended if you're interested in the subject of demonology. That's about all. Peace out.